when we say the term Note series, you would obviously think about Samsung, but that is not what we're going to talk about today. Huawei have yesterday introduced a new device which is huge in every sense and powerful in every manner. We are talking about the Honor Note 10, and we will talk about the features and we will see if it will come to India or not. And let me know in the comment section if you would be interested in this beast of a phone at all if it makes its way to India. Now before we begin, here's a card to my latest channel, that is Kratos390. Go ahead and check that channel out as well. At the same time, if you haven't already, please subscribe and hit that notification bell icon so that you get notified every time I upload a brand new video. Now without further ado, hello awesome people, welcome to Smartphone Tutorials. My name is Kailash. Let's get going. Now when we talk about a big device or a big phone, it of course has to have all the flagship features and flagship processor and stuff like that. Well, that is what Huawei has exactly done with the Honor Note 10. Now at the front you get a 6.95 inches, that's correct, a 6.95 inches display, which is a Super AMOLED panel with Full HD Plus resolution and HDR10 support, which should increase your viewing experience by approximately 20%. Now when you have a big display, you have to have powerful internals, at the same time a good battery and a lot of other bells and whistles. If we talk about the internals of this beastly device, it is powered by the Kirin 970, which is an octa-core processor with 2.4 GHz at 4 cores and 1.8 GHz on the remaining 4. This device comes with something called as GPU Turbo, which debuted in the Honor Play recently, which should allow you to get better graphics and consistent gaming performance, at the same time ensuring that you don't overheat your device. Now debuting in this particular Honor Note 10 is something called as the CPU Turbo technology, which will ensure that you get brilliant performance without overheating the device. And guess what? Honor have added a dedicated button for that as well. There is something about dedicated buttons in 2018. LG did it with their latest device with a dedicated assistant button, and Samsung has been doing it with Bixby, and now we have Honor adding a dedicated CPU Turbo button. Talking about the storage options on the Honor Note 10, we have 6 GB of RAM and 64 GB of internal storage, 6 GB of RAM and 128 GB of internal storage, and yes, the top variant gets 8 GB of RAM and 128 GB of internal storage. That's not all. You also get a SD card slot, which will allow you to add up to 256 GB more. So not only this device has a huge display, it has amazing storage options as well. Now apart from the processor and the display, something else that caught my attention, well, that was the battery. Now the Honor Note 10 does come with a 5000 mAh battery, which should give you ample amount of screen on time, considering it has a 6.95 inch display. So this is geared towards gamers and people who like to do a lot of media consumption. And not only the battery is huge, it also gives you fast charging, which should give you up to 2 hours of battery life in just 10 minutes of charge, is what Huawei have claimed. Now the charging technicalities of this particular device is 5 volts at 4.5 amperes, and by today's standards, yes, that's definitely fast charging. If we take a closer look at the specifications of this device, it is powered by the same Kirin 970 which was seen in the P20 Pro, and it is a 2.4 GHz processor on the primary cores and another power saving cores that are 4 cores at 1.8 GHz. Now as I said earlier, it does have CPU Turbo technology with a dedicated physical button, and the smartphone features a heat dissipation pipe for CPU liquid cooling. Approximately 40% less heating is what Huawei have claimed. The color options available would be Magic Night Black and Phantom Blue, and sadly it doesn't have a headphone jack, but that doesn't stop Huawei from adding Dolby Atmos in this particular device along with stereo speakers. So not only you will get amazing sound output from the USB Type-C to 3.5mm converter, you will also get stereo sound provided with the stereo speakers, and they are powered by Dolby Atmos as well. Now come 2018, one important aspect of all these devices, especially the flagship ones, have been the cameras, and Honor or Huawei doesn't disappoint us there as well. We are talking about a 16 plus 24 megapixel rear camera setup with f1.8 aperture and a 13 megapixel front sensor with 2.0 aperture and complete AI support and AI image stabilization. Yes, this is a Kirin 970 and it does have a dedicated NPU, that is a neural processing unit, so there should be artificial intelligence magic happening all around the operating system. And talking about the software, well, it is powered by EMUI 8.2, which is based on Android 8.1, and considering the time this particular device is launching, I'm hoping that they will launch it with Project Treble support, which would allow for seamless updates. One aspect that I don't really like about Huawei phones is their bootloaders are locked, and that limits the development that can be done on a particular device. We will see if Huawei decides to unlock the bootloader on this one. But apart from that, let's talk about the pricing while we conclude this wonderful introduction to the Huawei Honor Note 10. For the entry-level variant, that is 6GB of RAM and 64GB of internal storage, the price in China was 2799 Chinese yuan, which is around 28,000 Indian rupees, and the second variant, which comes with 128 gigs of internal storage and 6 gigs of RAM, should come at around 32,000 rupees in India approximately, and the top variant with 8 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabytes of internal storage should cost around 36,000 rupees. Now these are converted prices when we convert pricing from the current China rates to Indian rupees. I don't really know when we will see this particular device in India, or if at all it will launch in India or not. But for now, well, that's everything about the Huawei Honor Note 10, and you guys can let me know in the comments section if you would buy it if it ever were launched in India. But for now, this is Kailash signing off at Smartphone Tutorials, and in case you liked this video, like, share and subscribe guys. Until the next one, see you, take care, goodbye.